Welcome to the latest video on the Concept Rebel Cruiser. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Last time when I left you, I just primed everything in black, and as I was discussing, that was to give it a nice base coat that would allow natural shadows to come through on the detail, which you can just about pick out there. That's not bad at all. Now the base colour that I put on here again is Alclad 2. It's a mixture of 2 parts grey microfiller and primer to 1 part white microfiller and primer, and that's not a bad colour, not a bad colour at all. I'm quite chuffed with that. We'll do a quick flyby in a minute, but before I do, on this video what we're going to discuss is we'll do a little bit of painting, but most of it is going to be, you know, what happens next, how I'm going to achieve these effects. So this will be a little bit of a short video, and then the next video we'll get really down to the nitty gritty and I'll show you some different techniques. So well, let's get on with the flyby. Starting with the flyby, here we are on the nose. If I come up to, you can see all that detail has really popped nicely. Quite chuffed with that. As we go back along the nose, or the shark look as they've been calling her on Facebook, and you can see that detail has really popped. Come back over the hull. This is the main command section. At the back there you've got a nice turret section, Moncalimated turret section, but you can see, you know, black has done its job. And this colour has been built up very, very, very gently, just to give it an overall finish. Because the main issue I've got with this is, although she is a rebel ship, a lot of this detail here, and we're getting to this detail on the next section, is very reminiscent of Imperial ships, Executor, etc, etc. So I'm going to have to change the way I paint her, depending on how we want it to look. Now I haven't got everything set on here, as I think you can just see from the back. There you go. Not all the engines are in, but it's certainly given her a bit of an oomph. Now this is the bits that are very Executor. Now how am I going to make that? Well, we're going to actually use Executor as we're going to use that as like a template to how we're going to paint that. Also using a little bit of Home 1 as well. As you can see, the engine's there because you've got all this extra detailing here, which looks sort of bodged, sort of souped up. You know, that's how Lucas wanted it. You know, the Imperial ships, very rigid, very straight. The rebel ships are a bit, you know, sort of higgledy bodged together. And this is the piece underneath that's going to really, you know, need some convincing. There's an awful lot of detail in there, and that's got to pop and look aged without killing the scale effect. So you can say there's quite a bit to do. We'll just take her back up. Sorry, I'm getting off my knees here, hence the wobble. Looking back towards the engineering section, and come back round, zoom out, and there she is. Okay, let's discuss paint stuff. Right, so now I'm going to discuss airbrushes, and this airbrush, which is the Custom CS that featured in the last video, this is, you know, a brute of a machine. It really is. And when we were using the lacquers that we did last time, it was perfect for the job, but to be honest, it's a bit overkill. So I could use this, which is the Neo CN by Iwata. That's a nice little airbrush. Really is a nice little airbrush. I use this when doing some reviews for certain magazines, and it really is terrific. You can take off the cup and replace it with a smaller one. Oops, there you go. Which means that quick paint changes are a plus. But one of the things that I did with mine is you've got the tip here, which I replaced with a crown version, because I spray acrylics, and with acrylics you can get a lot of build up around this area here, so I always use a crown. It just prolongs the amount of time that I can actually paint without having to clean the tip and start again. The other thing I did was remove this and replace it with this little beauty, which has a limiter on the end, which means you can fine tune exactly how much paint you want to do. So if you want to do gentle lines, you just set your limiter and away you go. So that's the Neo CN, brilliant piece of kit, can't fault it, love it, but I'm not going to use it. I'm going to use these babies. Now the reason I'm going to use these is not, oh look at me, I can afford lots and lots of airbrushes, but these are the airbrushes that I use when I do railway modelling, to get in all the intricate places. You can do really nice fine dusting with them, and that's what I'm going to be doing a lot of on this new model. Now this is the HPBH. It's a 0.2 needle. It has a limiter, it has easy access chuck, and it also has this little baby, which is a MAC valve that allows you to really fine tune your paint, and we'll see exactly how that's done in a minute. But the other good thing is it's got a nice open gravity feed, so you can tip it out, you can do lots of quick changes, and that's the reason that I'm using this. It's a quick change machine, and I'm going to need a quick change machine. As you can see, it's stock, apart from the fact it has a crown point as well. This baby is its bigger brother, and this is the HPCH. A lot of models use this. It's got a set cup, which is huge. I haven't got a crown tip with this because I don't think that it needs it. You've got your limiter again, you've got your easy access on there, and you also have your MAC valve as well. And again, you'll see these as we go along. That's 0.3. I'm going to use that a lot on the underside detail sections. This is the 0.2, and we'll be seeing this in action when I put a lot of the plating on the main sections. So where all those lumps and bumps are, we want to get that nice home one look. Lots of quick changes. We're going to be using up to 4 or 5 colours at a time, and I can't just keep doing the same colour on a section and then do the next colour and do the next colour. It's not going to work like that. This is going to be a slowly catchy monkey painting session. So I need to have that amount of flexibility. As I said, I could do the job with this. I could do the job with this. I could do the job just with that. But this gives me the flexibility to get everything done rather quickly, and it means that I'll be finished before the model's first outing on the 5th of September this year, not next year. So let's get on the paint. And this is the paint that we're going to be using. Now this, as we said last time, is Rail Match non-toxic acrylic water-based paint. It is rather impressive stuff. It's really good. I've been using it for years, and the reason I use it is because they're rail paints. You have something here like Sleeper Grime, and it is actually pretty close to the original grime from Polyscale, the flow quill paints, pretty much like the Archive X paints are. Now, I was hoping to use the Archive X paints on these, but unfortunately they're not ready, so I'm using these instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 different colours, and I'm going to use every single one. Now, I've identified most of these colours from looking at pictures of Home 1, and I'm going to need most, if not, well, I'm going to need all of them at some point. Hence, you can see there's going to be lots of quick changes, and why I'm using the Iwata HPBH. So this is the Rail Match paint, and I'm now going to show you how to mix it correctly, ready for airbrush. Okay, so we are going to mix this paint up, ready for airbrush. The colour I've chosen is GWR Stock Grey. Now it can be thinned with water, but I'm actually using this, which is the proper proprietary thinner made by HWG specifically for this paint. We've also got a little magic ingredient here, which we'll talk about later. We have a little pot that we're going to mix into, and I have a stirrer. So let's start by giving this a bloody good shake, and I mean a really good shake. Oops, doesn't matter, because we need to get this really mixed. Okay, whip off the end, open the pot, there's our grey colour, open like so, and because this is a glass pot, these are great. I get this from my local cafe because they use them, and at the end of the week I just go and say to them, guys, you got any? They're happy to give them to me, because that means that they don't have to, all they need to do is put them in a bag and give them to me at the end of the week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about half the pot in there. So how much thinner do I need to put with that? Well, about half again. Now some people would say 60-40, I think 50-50. The reason I say that is not because I want a good coverage, because I'm looking for an effect. Miniatures in movies are not painted in solid colours. Well, they are painted in solid colours, but all the weathering, aging is done with very thin paint. Because if you start using thick paint, you break the scale. So they have a tendency to use very thin paint, and it's applied very thinly and very finely over multiple passes, than just whacking it on in a nice big thick paint. So let's thin this up. And as you can see, it's about 50-50. You can see where it was and you can see where it is, so that's pretty good. Right, so let's mix it. Let's get this. No, it's completely rubbish. A cocktail stick, what are you thinking about? It's not the thing that you want to be using to mix paints. What you need is a brush, a proper brush. So I get in there and I give it a good mix. And I can see by drawing the paint, you can probably see that, but drawing that back, I can see that it's been properly mixed. And this is your magic ingredient. This is Liquitex Flow Aid. Now I've been using this for years and years and years and years. It is a retardant unit. So what it does is it actually slows down the drying of acrylic paint, which helps it when you want to use it for airbrushing, because it means that it doesn't congeal on the tip for significantly longer than it would if it wasn't happening. Now the great thing about this is it can be used on every single acrylic you can think of. I've used it on every single acrylic, and it's never failed me. It's absolutely brilliant stuff. So how much of this wonder unit do we put in? 1, 2, 4. That's it. It's all it needs. Give this another proper mix. And that is it. That paint is ready for the airbrush. So all I need to do is put the lid on. Ta-da! Mark it so I know which colour I've got. And there you go. Now that paint is actually good with this wonder thing in it. That is actually good for 6 months, even a year. All you need to do is, before you use it for your airbrush, just give it another, open the top and give it a whiz with a brush, and seriously, it's ready to go again. Brilliant stuff. So there you go. That's how to properly mix acrylic paint. And right, only another 16 to go. Well, I've been blithering on for so long that we're actually running out of time. I'm trying to keep these videos round to about 8 minutes, no more than 8 minutes, and we're rapidly approaching that. So the one thing I want to do, we're not going to paint the model today, but we'll paint the model in the next video, I absolutely promise. But what I'm going to show you is the proper way to clean an airbrush. Now, there's been a lot of hoo-ha about airbrushes, how you clean an airbrush, how you don't clean an airbrush, blah blah blah, rah rah rah. Yeah, okay, you all have your own way of doing it, but I'm going to show you the way that I was taught to clean an airbrush by the guys at Iwata. So a proper Iwata technician, an engineer, showed me how to clean an airbrush. I do it this way, you do whatever way you want, but I think this is the best way, and it's certainly worked for me for the past 10 years. So, here I am, I finished my painting. God, I love this airbrush, it's so cool. You can get ultra fine lines on it. Look at that, it's like hair. Anyway, dip the paint back into the pot. Usually use a little bit and just clean that out, take like so. Then I need to grab my handy dandy paintbrush, which is loaded with water, and I'm just giving that a good thing. Right, now I've set my compressor at 60 psi, so I'm going to ramp that up as open as it'll go, both ends. A little bit more water to get in there, make sure it's properly clean. So we've got about 60 psi running through there. Got a cotton bud. Gonna hold it over, put it in there. Gonna hold it over the end. And what that's doing is that's forcing everything back through to clean all the seals. I just spray that out like so. Nice and empty. A little bit more water just this time. So excuse me while I just get a bit of water. Forgot to grab that. A little bit of water over the end, spray out. Looking pretty good so far. Right, so what are we going to do? Well, I could just change a colour and be ready for the next one, but we're actually going to I've finished with this for today, so we're actually going to finish it properly. So, remove the end. Now I use this, which is Carpan paint thinner, and it's really good for cleaning the inside of brushes. So what I do, I've actually got some in here, which we'll get onto later, and do this outside, or because it is pretty smelly stuff, I've just put a fraction in there. I haven't put much at all. And again, in with the Q-tip into the end, and I'm just backing that. Spray it. Right, that's all out, and now remove the needle. There's a little bit of backup on there, so I just take the Carpan and just wipe the needle clean. That needle is nice and clean. Just wipe off the excess. We'll put that on there, because if not, I can see that going everywhere. And this is the stuff, Premier Liquid Reamer, and this is what I use to clean my airbrushes at the end of every session. It comes in two types. You get the liquid reamer, and then you also get the acrylic foaming airbrush cleaner. I use a combination of the both, but this is the baby. So, because I've flushed everything down there, I now need to flush that out. So I push this at the end. Takes a little bit of practice. And you can see I'm just running that through. And that's pushing everything through. Or any paint debris that's got at the end, I then run the needle to the end, lock it in place. Fill that up. Fresh Q-tip on the end. And now I leave that for 20 minutes to do its job. 20 minutes later, the magic of the cinema. Okay, so this is set for 20 minutes. I'll just take all this, release anything from the outside, back in there, good blowback. I'm doing that for quite a while. As I said, it's 60 psi, forcing everything back through here, and then when I spray out, it'll force it all the way back again. And what that's doing is that's making everything, cleaning all around the seals and everywhere. So that's nice and clean. Do I need to do anything else to this? Yes. Now this has been reamed out, it's virtually clean, so we'll pop her back together. Give her a wipe. And then we've got the foaming. So again, exactly like I did last time. And I like putting this everywhere. And this foaming airbrush cleaner is specifically designed for acrylic paints, for cleaning out acrylic paints. So it's really, really good stuff. Give that a wipe. Also, it also has a oh, how am I going to explain this? Gary, mind your words. Yes, what it has is like a lubrication. So I don't need to lubricate the inside of the airbrush because this is already done. So I use the clean end of a new Q-tip. Just fire that back. Fire that out. That's it. Your airbrush is clean. Ready to go back in the box and the next session. How easy is that? That's a lot better than taking everything apart, because you really don't want to do that. And that's what the Iwata Technicians said to me. You really only want to strip this down when there's a problem. The rest of the time, you simply don't need to. That's how I clean mine. This is now 10 years old and has never been serviced, has never been stripped all the way down. I've never taken the tip off. I think I've just released this and just cleaned round her, and, you know, listen to the man from Iwata. He tells you what to do. Thanks ever so much for being with us on this video, and we will have a new video soon where I promise, we will do some painting.